We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us. As we were going to the break, I was talking about how some of these NFTs are used. We talked about music and art. You were saying politicians can start doing this. We know there's a realm for athletes as well, but how do politics come into play?
Yeah, so if you're a politician, one thing we know is that campaigns are very expensive.
Yes.
You have to buy advertising, you have to send out, try to get your name out there and meet with potential voters. And so politicians, one named Blake Masters in Arizona, issued a number of NFTs that were sold at the maximum contribution you could make to an election.
Oh, okay. And what would they have been of? What would the NFT have been?
So the NFT came with a few things.
Okay.
So Blake had written a book with Peter Thiel, the founder of eBay, so he was very digitally savvy.
Okay.
So it came with some original content of that book, but it also came to access to Blake, so some real life events. So if
you would find out through the NFT when he's going to be where?
Yeah, so if you really believed in this politician and you purchased this NFT by making a contribution to their campaign, well, Blake now has money to spend on advertising, but you might be able to meet with this politician, so it would give you access to your candidate either now or in the future, so you can imagine the value there.
So when you make that purchase of his NFT, then you do that through cryptocurrency, then he goes to an exchange and gets the money, which he can then use to buy television advertising.
Correct.
Something along those lines. Well, let's take a quick call from Eric on this. Eric, good morning. Hi, Eric.
Good morning, Nick. I guess you're probably surprised you to hear me call in and talk about cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about it is, believe it or not, earlier this morning, I actually saw a story on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and I just wanted to get the investor, the guy from Vanderbilt's thoughts on this. They were talking about the fact that really not a lot of investors were involved in this. It's only like, I think I heard the percentage was like 14%, because there are a lot of people, of course, looking at this and thinking they were going to become multi-millionaires on this and everything, and that, of course, a lot of red flags you have to worry about scamming. But do you think, as this you continue to hear about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, do you think that as time goes on, the investors' attitudes will change about this? Do you think there will still be some sort of hesitancy on this? How do you think, as it progresses, how do you think that's going to go?
Thanks, Eric. Great question. Well, I was kind of piggybacking on him at the break. I was asking you, I think one of the key is it going to become more mainstream where more people understand it? But I think Eric's question's great. You don't understand, so you're kind of careful with it.
Yeah, no, I think that 2021 was really the year that cryptocurrency became mainstream.
What do you think made that occur? It's just
recognition and awareness.
Okay.
I think the media played a big role in that.
More people being involved in it. We were talking about how Tom Brady, to thank a fan for giving him his record-setting football back, gave him a Bitcoin. And I was on Bitcoin, and they were saying, well, it turned out the one he gave him, because it was from Tom Brady, turned out to be worth thousands of dollars. It was very valuable, and he could cash that in, I guess.
Correct. And so that ability to take that Bitcoin and turn it back into US dollars and buy something can help. When more establishments start accepting cryptocurrency, if that happens, if you can pay for a new Tesla or something that you buy with cryptocurrency, that will continue to accelerate.
As opposed to having to go to an exchange.
As opposed to having to exchange.
So if I go to El Salvador and go through a drive-through at McDonald's, I'm paying with cryptocurrency.
Right now, that is the official currency. I would say at McDonald's,
crazy?
You might not be paying with that, but if that is the case, if we adopt, let's say, Bitcoin as the currency that we accept, then the volatility you're seeing, which is the difference between Bitcoin's value in US dollars, you're less sensitive to that, because one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin at that point.
And the denomination is there a $1 Bitcoin? Is it?
There are some smaller denominated Bitcoins where people have taken Bitcoins and tried to divide them.
But if I have, let's say I have an NFT and I sell it and I get paid with 100 Ether, and I take that to the exchange, am I getting $100 back, or is Ether different when the exchange comes with the dollars?
Right, so you would take that 100 Ether, and Ether has traded between 2,500 and 3,000 each. So you would take that and multiply 2,500.
Wait, so one Ether is equivalent to like how many US dollars?
2,500 to 3,000.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, so it starts becoming
Okay,
really
well, see, I didn't understand that Ether, like a single Ether is equivalent to maybe $2,500.
Right.
Holy cow. Okay. All right, let's take a call from Jenny. Jenny, good morning. Hi, Jenny.
It's Jimmy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry about that. Definitely. Jimmy.
What I would want to talk about is the dark side of cryptocurrency. Isn't that exactly what your major drug dealers are asking to be paid in because it's hard to trace? And if it's going to politicians, you'll never know who's sending them this money, which, it's like underhanded dealings. As well as it's doing away with paper money, which means putting the government over your finances, being able to track every damn thing you do.
Well, interesting. I'll say this, though, Jimmy. I hardly ever use my bills. I have a few dollar bills in my wallet, but it's almost always my credit card that I use these days. But he makes a good point. I have heard of drug dealers dealing with this, and he brings up the point about regulation or, how, and then Big Brother watching. What do you think?
Yeah, and this is certainly, I think, one of the most palpable concerns with cryptocurrencies is that there are going to be entities, drug dealers, mafia, that want to transact in cryptocurrency just for that reason, right? Because it's potentially anonymous. The key is it took our government a little bit of time to put together organizations, the Department of Justice, Treasury, established specific areas, the IRS, to try to better understand how this money gets transferred. And so that going back to that dichotomous nature of the block, it's fully transparent.
Right, so you can...
But it's anonymized, and so all they need to do is tie a digital wallet to a criminal, and they can immediately identify every transaction that they've participated in.
So that would be a turnoff for a crook.
Right.
That's a dealer, probably.
Right, so you would have to keep your digital wallet completely anonymous, and so a lot of these exchanges and platforms for trading, a lot of what they're doing is trying to verify who's actually transacting on there.
So is there a law? Are you able to keep everything confidential or not? I mean, as you say, it's out there to really do it. It's the system set up to be open.
Right. Somewhere there's information that's your digital wallet.
Okay.
If you never link that to your transactions, I don't want to give a criminal a playbook for how to do
but,
things.
I mean, a Colombian drug lord or something like that maybe is aware of that, and they can find a way to do it without linking it so it doesn't trace?
Right, so it allows them to money launder, essentially, at that point.
Okay, I was going to say, so money laundering could come into play with crypto. Do you think that's being done yet at this level with cryptocurrency? Any idea the criminal element? Are there folks doing money laundering with it yet?
Yeah, so there was a report I read recently that less than 1% of all transactions in cryptocurrencies are by criminal organizations in money laundering. And I was surprised. I expected a much higher number.
Yeah,
given the allure.
It's just not there yet. But I mean, you would imagine that's coming, like everything else.
And there's even wash trading in non-fungible tokens.
What was that?
So a wash trade is when I look on a marketplace and I see what an NFT is trading for, I'm going to look at its past transactions. So think of a house. I don't know what a house is worth, but
getting your comps and
here's
everything.
The last 2 or 3 times it sold. Wash trading is if an individual trades with themselves across digital wallets and creates false transactions.
Make it seem like it was more than less, and then you're ending up selling it for more. Right. That would be illegal, perhaps, right?
It is, and so that's something that I think governments are looking more and more into.
Can it be hacked? You hear about ransomware attacks and hackers out there, since it is all cyber. What about that? I mean, has Bitcoin been hacked, or
Yeah, so a lot of these exchanges have been hacked. Bitfinex was a big hacking. There was a big story recently. Somebody stole almost 70 million of Bitcoin at the time through a hacking scam, and it ended up being worth billions of dollars.
So what do they really have? Did that translate into dollar money?
Well, so they have to, at that point, take that stolen Bitcoin and again launder it. And so what they were able to do is transfer it to digital wallets on a dark exchange that wasn't closely overseen, and then created fictitious businesses and paid themselves with those Bitcoins over time to make it look like legitimate transactions.
Just amazing how the whole concept, by the way, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, the very concept of it, the first time it appeared on the horizon, how many years ago?
So Bitcoin came in the late 2000s.
And was this someone's idea at that moment? Like, well, let's just think out of the box and come up with a new type of currency?
Correct. It's actually the inventor of Bitcoin is not known, and so they've kept their identity masked.
Oh, really?
Throughout all this time. And when Bitcoin first started trading, it was trading for $100. It was the translation. It didn't really hit the $2,000 to $3,000 per Bitcoin until 2017 or 18, and then shortly after the pandemic in 2021 is where we really saw the value take off.
Why do you think that? What was the connection there?
So there's a few things. We weren't really going out and spending money elsewhere.
Right.
So we saw similar transactions in the stock market where I think people had maybe some income that they weren't spending on other items, and so they viewed it as either entertainment or they, social media created some hype. And it creates something known as the fear of missing out. And so that's where you have to be careful in this
See,
space.
that's what I fear right now. I'm missing out on this. I don't understand it. I still don't. And you're great. I need to take one of your classes because, I just know this is, right now a trend, and it's not going away. And there's a bunch of opportunity there for people that maybe who don't understand that could really benefit from it. I don't really see a big downside beside the points Jimmy brought up, but that's downside with any currency. It's just this is new and it needs to be regulated to some degree. Against that. Let's take a break on that, and we'll come back. Our final segment, if you have a question about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and I'm not saying fungi like mushrooms, it just means you can't really trade them perhaps. You need currency, cryptocurrency to buy it, which is a fungible token, isn't it? I'm learning all this cool lingo. If you have a question, 737-7587. Final segment with our fine guest right after this.